Nari smiled. Heroes, survivors, friends. She pointed at the stars. The galaxy was afraid of us. But maybe 1 month had passed since the lecture that changed everything. The galaxy was still talking about humans. News programs discussed them every day. Scientists wrote papers about them. Politicians debated what to do about them. But at the Galactic Academy, things had started to become normal again. No one sat in the cafeteria, eating a meal that had been specially prepared for human biology. The Academy had worked hard to learn what humans could eat. At first, they were surprised that humans could eat almost anything. Then they were even more surprised when they learned that humans actually enjoyed eating spicy food, which was essentially poison to most species. Nari sat across from him, reading something on her tablet. She was studying for an exam in alien medicine. Since her species was now famous, many hospitals wanted to learn about human biology. Nari was getting job offers from across the galaxy. Look at this, she said, showing Dohan her tablet. A hospital on the Orion cluster wants to hire me when I graduate. They want to study how humans heal so quickly. Dohan smiled. That is great. Are you going to accept? Maybe, Nari said. But I want to finish my studies first. There is still so much to learn. A group of students approached their table. They were from different species, but they all had one thing in common. They were not afraid. Can we sit with you? Asked a small creature with bright green skin. Her name was Pee-Pee, and she was studying chemistry. She had been one of the first students to approach the humans after the truth came out. Of course, Dohan said, making room. The students sat down. They started eating and talking, just like normal friends. Dohan realized that this was what he had always wanted. Not to be treated as a monster. Not to be treated as a hero. Just to be treated as a regular person. Dohan, Pee-Pee said, I heard something today. Is it true that humans keep predators as pets? Dohan laughed. Yes, we have dogs and cats. Dogs evolved from wolves. Cats are small predators that hunt mice and birds. The students looked at each other with wide eyes. You live with predators? By choice? They are not dangerous to us, Dohan explained. We trained them over thousands of years. Now they are our friends. You turn predators into friends, another student said slowly. That is incredible. Nari put down her tablet. We do that a lot, actually. Humans have a habit of making friends with dangerous things. We ride horses, which are large animals that could crush us. We swim with dolphins in the ocean. Some people even keep snakes as pets. The students looked like they might faint. Why? Pee-Pee asked. Why would you do that? Dohan thought about it. I guess. We see potential in everything, even dangerous things. We believe that anything can become a friend if we try hard enough. This was a new idea for the alien students. They came from gentle worlds where the concept of befriending a predator was unthinkable. But to humans, it was completely natural. Later that day, Dohan was called to Director Kano's office. When he arrived, he was surprised to find many important people there. Government officials, military leaders, scientists from across the sector. Please sit down, Dohan. Director Kano said warmly. Dohan sat down, feeling nervous. Is something wrong? No, nothing is wrong, Kano said. Something is right, actually. We have made a decision about humanity. She picked up a document from her desk. The Galactic Council has been debating what to do about Earth for the past month. Some wanted to isolate your planet, keep you contained. They were afraid of what Deathworlders might do. Dohan felt his heart sink. And they were outvoted, Kano said with a smile. By a large margin, actually. She handed him the document. The Galactic Council has voted to offer Earth full membership in the galactic community. Your people will have all the rights and responsibilities of any member species. You can travel freely, trade freely, and participate in galactic politics. Dawan stared at the document. He could not believe what he was reading. Full membership? But they were so afraid of us. An old government official spoke up. He had gray scales and wise eyes. We were afraid, he admitted. But fear should not guide our decisions. We watched you and your friend Nari for the past month. We saw how you treated others, how you helped your classmates, how you faced suspicion with patience, instead of anger. He stood up and walked closer to Dawan. Deathworld species have always been warriors, conquerors, destroyers. But you chose to be students, healers, friends. Showed us that the past does not have to define the future. Director Kano nodded. The Council believes that humanity represents something new. A Deathworld species that wants peace. A civilization of survivors who choose cooperation over conflict. We want you to be our partners, the old official said. We want to learn from you. Your strength. Your resilience. Your ability to face danger and come out stronger. He smiled, showing rows of small teeth. And maybe you can learn from us too. Our science. Our art. Our history. Together, we can build something better than either of us could alone. Dohan felt tears forming in his eyes. He quickly wiped them away, but everyone had already seen. I am sorry, he said, embarrassed. Do not apologize, Kano said gently. Emotions are not weakness. They are proof that you care. She walked around her desk and stood in front of Dohan. You came to this academy as a student, but you have become so much more. You have become a bridge between two worlds, between fear and understanding, between the past and the future. She extended her hand. It was a human gesture that she had learned specifically for this moment. On behalf of the Galactic Council, she said formally, I welcome humanity to the stars. Dahan took her hand and shook it. His grip was firm but gentle. He was aware of his strength and always careful not to hurt others. Thank you, he said. Thank you for giving us a chance. Later that evening, Dohan met Nari on the roof of the academy. It was their favorite place to talk. From here, they could see the entire city and the stars above. I heard the news, Nari said. We are officially members of the galactic community now. Yes, Dohan said. It still feels unreal. Nari looked up at the stars. Somewhere in that vast darkness was Earth, their home, their families, their people. Do you think humanity is ready for this? She asked. Dohan considered the question carefully. I do not know. We have made many mistakes in our history. We have hurt each other and our planet. We are not perfect. He paused. But we are trying. Every generation tries to be better than the last. That is what humans do. We fall down and we get back up. We make mistakes and we learn from them. He pointed at the stars. And now we have a new chance. A chance to be part of something bigger. To learn from other species. To share what we know. To finally become what we always dreamed of being. What is that? Nari asked. Dohan smiled. Citizens of the universe. They stood in silence for a while, watching the stars. So many worlds out there. So many species. So many stories waiting to be told. Professor Velik had been wrong about Deathworld species. They did not have to destroy themselves. They did not have to become conquerors or monsters. They could choose a different path. Humanity had chosen peace. Humanity had chosen friendship. Humanity had chosen to reach out instead of strike down. And maybe, just maybe, that choice would change the galaxy forever. A shooting star crossed the sky above them. Nari pointed at it with excitement. Make a wish, she said. Duhan closed his eyes. He did not wish for power or wealth or glory. He wished for something simple, something human. He wished that someday all species would see each other not as threats or resources or enemies, but as neighbors, as friends, as family. He opened his eyes and looked at Nari. She was smiling. "What did you wish for?" she asked. "I cannot tell you," Dawan said, "or it will not come true." Nari laughed. "That is such a human thing to believe." "Yes," Dawan agreed. "It is, and that was exactly the point. Being human meant believing in impossible things. It meant hoping when there was no reason to hope. It meant loving when it would be easier to hate. The galaxy thought they understood Deathworlders. They thought they knew what survival meant. But they were about to learn that humanity survived not just through strength, but through heart, through kindness, through the stubborn belief that tomorrow could always be better than today. The stars sparkled above them. Somewhere out there, Earth was spinning through space. 8 billion humans were living their lives, unaware that their representatives had just changed history. Doan took one last look at the sky. Then he turned and walked back inside. There was still so much to do, so much to learn, so much to build. But for the first time since coming to this alien world, he felt like he truly belonged. The galaxy had opened its doors to humanity, and humanity was ready to walk through. The great lecture hall of the Galactic Academy could hold 3,000 students. Today, it was almost full. Beings from 100 different worlds sat in their seats. Some had scales. Some had feathers. Some had skin that changed color with their mood. All of them were here to learn about the history of the galaxy. Professor Velik walked to the center of the stage. He was a tall creature with gray skin and 4 arms. His species, the Torani, were known for their love of knowledge. They had been teachers for 10,000 years. Velik was proud of this history. He believed that knowledge was the most important thing in the universe. "Good morning, students," Velik said. His voice was deep and calm. "Today, we will talk about something very interesting. We will talk about the Deathworld species." A quiet sound moved through the lecture hall. Students whispered to each other. The topic of Deathworld species was always popular. It was scary and exciting at the same time. Velik touched a button on his desk. A large hologram appeared behind him. It showed a planet covered in fire and smoke. The surface was broken and rough. Lightning struck the ground every few seconds. "This is what we call a Class 12 world," Velik explained. "These planets are the most dangerous places in the known galaxy. The gravity is strong. The atmosphere is often poisonous. The weather is violent. And the life forms—" He paused for effect. "The life forms are incredibly aggressive." The hologram changed. Now it showed different creatures. Some looked like giant insects with sharp claws. Others looked like massive predators with many teeth. One creature had tentacles covered in spikes. "These are examples of Deathworld fauna," Velik continued. "Animals from Class 12 planets. As you can see, they evolved to be perfect killing machines. On these worlds, everything is trying to kill everything else. Only the strongest survive." In the middle of the lecture hall, a young human named Dohan sat quietly. He was 22 years old. He had dark hair and brown eyes. He looked ordinary compared to the colorful aliens around him. Dohan was an exchange student from a small planet called Earth. He had been at the academy for 6 months. Now, next to Dohan sat his friend Nari. She was also human. Also from Earth. She had long black hair tied in a simple ponytail. Nari was studying medicine at the academy. She wanted to learn how different species healed their bodies. Nari leaned toward Dohan. "This is interesting," she whispered. "I never knew there were so many dangerous planets." Dohan nodded but did not answer. He was listening carefully to the Professor. Velik changed the hologram again. This time, it showed intelligent beings. They stood on two legs like humans, but they were bigger and stronger. They had thick skin and small eyes. Their hands had sharp claws. These were the Krath, Velik said. His voice became sad. They were a sentient species from a Class 12 world. They were warriors. They were survivors. They built cities and ships. They even reached the stars. The lecture hall was very quiet now. Everyone was listening. But the Krath are gone now, Velik said. They went extinct 5,000 years ago. Their planet became too unstable. Their sun grew too hot. In the end, not even these mighty warriors could survive. He showed another species, then another, and another. Each time, he told the same story. A strong species from a dangerous world. A brief moment of glory. Then extinction. The truth is simple, Velik said. Deathworld species do not last long. Their planets are too violent. Their bodies are strong, but their worlds are stronger. In the history of the galaxy, no Deathworld species has ever survived for more than 50,000 years. Most die much sooner. Dohan felt strange as he listened. Something about this lesson did not feel right. He looked at his hands. They looked normal to him. Just regular human hands. This is why, Velik continued, we believe that all Deathworld species have vanished. Our surveys have found no living civilizations on any Class 12 world. The last known Deathworld species, the Vorn, disappeared 300 years ago. We must accept this sad truth. The Deathworlds have claimed all their children. A Florian student raised one of its leaf-like appendages. Professor, why did all the Deathworld species die? Were they not strong enough? Velik nodded. Good question. Deathworld species are incredibly strong. Their bodies can handle conditions that would kill most beings instantly. But this is also their weakness. They evolve for war. They evolve for conflict. When they become intelligent, they often destroy themselves. War comes naturally to them. He paused and looked at his students. We should be grateful, he said. We come from gentle worlds. Class 3 and Class 4 planets. Our ancestors did not have to fight every day just to survive. This allowed us to develop peace, cooperation, civilization. Nari frowned. She whispered to Doan, is he saying that violent planets make violent people? I think so, Doan whispered back. He was feeling more uncomfortable now. Earth had a lot of wars in its history. Was that because of the planet? Was that just how humans were? Professor Velik showed more images. Beautiful, peaceful planets with calm weather and gentle animals. These are the kinds of worlds that create lasting civilizations, he said. Worlds where life does not have to struggle every moment. Worlds where beings can think about something other than survival. The lecture was almost over. Velik prepared to give his final thoughts. Remember this lesson, students, he said. The galaxy is vast. Many species have risen and fallen. The Deathworld species were strong. They were brave. But they are all gone now. Their time has passed. We, the children of gentle worlds, are the ones who remain. We are the future of the galaxy. He smiled and spread his 4 arms wide. And that is why we must treasure peace. We must treasure cooperation. We must never become like those ancient warriors who burned so bright and then disappeared forever. The students began to clap. Many of them were moved by the professor's words. They felt lucky to be alive. Lucky to be from safe planets. But Doan did not clap. He sat very still in his seat. His heart was beating fast. He knew something that Professor Velik did not know. He knew something that could change everything. Earth was not a Class 3 world. Earth was not a Class 4 world on Earth was a Class 12 world, a death world, and humans were very much alive. Dohan looked at his hand again. The same hand that had learned to throw rocks at predators. The same hand that had built fires to survive cold nights. The same hand that had created tools and weapons and machines. He was a death worlder. He had been sitting in this lecture hall for an hour, listening to a professor explain why his species should be extinct. Nari noticed the look on his face. Dohan, are you okay? Dohan took a deep breath. He was about to do something that would change his life forever. He was about to raise his hand and tell the truth. The professor asked if there were any questions. Slowly, Dohan lifted his arm into the air. Nari smiled. Heroes, survivors, friends. She pointed at the stars. The galaxy was afraid of us. But maybe, Ru. Professor Velik saw the raised hand in the middle of the lecture hall. He squinted his large eyes to see better. The student looked strange, small, soft skin, no scales or feathers. The professor did not recognize the species immediately. Yes? You have a question? Velik asked politely. Dohan stood up slowly. His legs felt weak, but he forced himself to stay steady. 3,000 pairs of eyes turned to look at him. He could feel their curiosity. Some students leaned forward in their seats. Others whispered to their neighbors. Professor, Dohan said. His voice was quiet at first, but it grew stronger. I have a question about the Deathworld species. Velik nodded. Of course. Go ahead. Dohan took a deep breath. You said that all Deathworld species have vanished. You said that no Class 12 civilizations exist anymore. That is correct, Velik replied. This is well documented in our historical records. But sir, Dohan said, I am from a Class 12 world. The lecture hall went completely silent. It was the kind of silence that felt heavy. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Even the air seemed to stop flowing. Professor Velik blinked several times. I am sorry. Could you repeat that? My planet is called Earth, Dohan said, louder now. It is classified as a Class 12 world, a death world. And my species is called human. There are 8 billion of us. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, a sound began to build. It started as nervous laughter from a few students. Then more joined in. Soon, half the lecture hall was laughing. A large student with blue scales called out, Nice joke. Did you prepare that all morning? Another student, a furry creature with 6 legs, shouted, Sit down. Stop wasting the professor's time. Dohan felt his face grow hot. He remained standing. He did not sit down. Nari stood up beside him. He is telling the truth, she said loudly. I am also from Earth. I am also human. The laughter continued, but some of it was starting to sound uncertain. A few students stopped laughing and looked more carefully at the 2 strange beings. Professor. Velik raised his forearms to quiet the crowd. The laughter slowly died down. When the hall was silent again, the professor spoke. Young man, Velik said gently, I understand that you want to make the class more interesting. But this is not the time for jokes. Deathworld species are a serious topic. Many civilizations were lost. Please, sit down. It is not a joke, Dohan said firmly. Check your records. Earth, 3rd planet from a yellow star. Class 12 designation. Velik sighed. He clearly did not believe this young student. But he was a teacher, and teachers must be patient. He turned to his assistant, a tall, thin creature named Bira, who stood at the side of the stage. Bira, Velik said, could you please check the database for this planet? Earth, the student said. Bira nodded. She moved to a control panel and began typing. Her long fingers moved quickly across the holographic keyboard. The large screen behind the professor flickered as new. Information appeared. The lecture hall watched and waited. Bir stopped typing. She stared at the screen. Her purple skin turned slightly pale. "Professor," she said quietly, "you should see this." Valak walked over to the screen. He read the information. Then he read it again. His forearms dropped slowly to his sides. "This cannot be right," he whispered. The screen showed basic information about Earth, its location, its size, its star, and in large red letters at the top of the file, 3 words stood out: Class 12 designation. Below that, the file continued: planet type, Deathworld gravity, high 1.0 standard, atmosphere, oxygen nitrogen, mix, toxic to most species, weather, highly unstable, hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, droughts, seismic activity, extreme, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, fauna, highly aggressive predators in all environments, native sentient species, Homo sapiens, human, population, approximately 8 billion status. SIV, that last word hit the professor like a physical blow. Active, not extinct. Not vanished, active. This must be an error, Valak said. His voice was shaking. The database must be wrong. Sir, Mira said slowly, the file was last updated 3 standard years ago. It includes detailed information about human civilization, cities, technology, space travel. The lecture hall erupted into chaos. Students began shouting questions. Some stood up from their seats. Others turned to look at Doan and Nari with new eyes. Quiet. Quiet, please. Valak shouted. It took a full minute for the noise to die down. When there was finally silence, the professor turned to face Doan. His gray face was pale. His forehands were trembling slightly. You, Valak said, come down here. Both of you, come to the stage. Doan and Nari looked at each other. Then they made their way through the rows of seats. Students moved away from them as they passed. Some looked scared. Others looked amazed. A few looked like they wanted to touch the humans, but were too afraid. When they reached the stage, Valak approached them slowly. He was much taller than both humans. He bent down slightly to look at them more closely. You are really from a Class 12 world? He asked quietly. Yes, Doan said. And there are 8 billion of you? Yes. Valak made a strange sound. It was something between a laugh and a cry. 8 billion. 8 billion Deathworlders. And nobody told me. Bira was still reading the file on Earth. Professor, she called out. This planet, it has everything. Active volcanoes, massive earthquakes, hurricanes that span hundreds of kilometers. And the animals. She put up new images on the screen. The students gasped. A great white shark, mouth open, showing rows of sharp teeth. A grizzly bear standing on its back legs, claws extended. A swarm of army ants eating through a forest. A crocodile launching itself out of water to catch prey. These creatures, Bira said, her voice shaking. They share the planet with humans. The humans live alongside these predators. A student in the front row fainted. Others screamed. One student started running toward the exit. Please remain calm, Valak shouted, but his voice cracked on the last word. Dohan watched all of this with a strange feeling in his chest. On Earth, none of these things seemed unusual. Sharks lived in the ocean. Bears lived in the forest. That was just how things were. He had never thought of Earth as dangerous. It was just home. Professor, Nari said softly, I think you were scaring your students. Valak looked at her. His large eyes were wide. Scaring them? Young lady, you have just revealed that there are 8 billion apex predators living in the galaxy. Apex predators who have apparently developed space travel. We are not predators, Nari said. We are just people. Just people, Velik repeated. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. Just people who evolved on a planet that would kill any of us in minutes. He turned back to the screen. More information about Earth was appearing. The history of human warfare. The weapons humans had created. Nuclear bombs. Biological weapons. Chemical weapons. They have the power to destroy their entire planet, Bira whispered. And they have not done it. Yet, someone in the audience shouted. They have not done it yet. This caused another wave of panic. More students headed for the exits. The lecture hall was becoming emptier by the minute. Velik looked at Dawn with new eyes. This small, soft-looking creature was a Deathworlder. His ancestors had fought and killed and survived on one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy. His body had been shaped by millions of years of war against nature itself, and he had been sitting in Velik's lecture hall for 6 months without anyone noticing. How did you get here? Velik asked. How did you reach the stars? Doan shrugged. We built rockets. We learned to fly. Then we learned to fly faster. In how many years? How long did it take your species to go from primitive life to space travel? Dohan thought about it. Maybe 10,000 years? From the first cities to the first space stations. Velik sat down heavily on the stage floor. 10,000 years. His species had taken 200,000 years to achieve the same thing. And they had lived on a peaceful, gentle world. What were humans really capable of? The professor looked up at Dohan and Nari. They stood there calmly, like this was all completely normal. Like revealing the existence of 8 billion Deathworlders was just another day. I think, Velik said slowly, that I need to rewrite my entire lecture. The news spread through the Galactic Academy like fire through dry grass. Within an hour, everyone knew. Within 2 hours, the story had reached the news networks. Within 3 hours, the entire sector was talking about the Deathworlders who had been hiding in plain sight. Dohan and Nari were taken to a large meeting room on the top floor of the academy. The room had windows that showed the purple sky of this alien world. Beautiful crystal buildings stretched toward the horizon. Flying vehicles moved silently between the towers, but nobody in the room was looking at the view. The room was full of important people. There were professors from many different departments. There were administrators from the academy. There were even some government officials who had arrived by emergency transport. All of them were staring at the two humans. A security officer stood near the door. He was a massive creature, covered in hard plates like armor. His species was known for being brave warriors. But even he looked nervous, standing in the same room as the humans. Director Kano sat at the head of a long table. She was the leader of the Galactic Academy. Her species had soft blue fur and large, gentle eyes. She was usually calm and wise. But today, her fur was standing up in patches, a sign of stress among her people. Let me understand this correctly, Kano said slowly. You two are humans, from a planet called Earth, a Class 12 world. That is correct, Dohan said. And you have been students at this academy for 6 months. Yes, Kano closed her eyes for a moment. 6 months. 2 Deathworlders have been walking through our hallways, eating in our cafeterias, sitting in our classrooms. For 6 months. We did not hide it, Nari said. We registered as Earth students when we arrived. All our documents show our home planet. An administrator checked the tablet. She is right. Their records clearly show Earth as their origin. The classification data was available. We just never checked. Because nobody imagined it was possible, Kano said bitterly. Why would anyone imagine that a Deathworld species was not only alive, but also attending our school. Professor Velik was also in the room. He had not spoken since arriving. He just sat in his chair and stared at Dohan like he was looking at a ghost. A government official stood up. He was thin and tall with silver skin that shimmered in the light. Director, with respect, we need to think about the larger situation here. If these two are telling the truth, then there are billions more like them. An entire civilization of Deathworlders. This changes everything. We are telling the truth, Dohan said calmly. The official turned to him. Then why have we never encountered your kind before? The galaxy has been explored for 1,000,000 years. How did an entire Deathworld civilization escape our notice? Dohan thought about this question. Earth is in a remote part of the galaxy, and humans have only been traveling through space for about 300 years. We have not gone very far yet. 300 years, someone whispered. They achieved space travel only 300 years ago. Nari nodded. That is correct. We are still new to all of this. The galactic community, the academy, the other species. We are learning. Director Kano leaned forward. Tell us about your planet. Help us understand. Dawn took a deep breath. Where should he begin? How could he explain Earth to beings who had never experienced anything like it? Earth has many different environments, he started. We have frozen lands at the top and bottom of the planet. We have huge deserts of sand where almost nothing can live. We have thick jungles full of dangerous animals and plants. We have oceans filled with creatures of all sizes. He paused. The weather changes constantly. We have storms that can destroy entire cities, winds that can pick up houses, waves that can cover the land and the ground. An official asked, What about earthquakes? Yes, we have earthquakes. And volcanoes. Some parts of Earth are shaking almost every day. Some volcanoes are always erupting. The room was very quiet. Everyone was listening with a mix of horror and fascination. How do you survive? Director Kano asked softly. Dawn smiled slightly. We adapt. We build strong buildings. We create warning systems. We help each other. You help each other, Kano repeated. Even though you evolved on a world of constant death. Especially because of that, Nari said. Alone, humans are weak. One human against the world would not survive long. But together, we are strong. Our greatest power is not our bodies. It is our ability to work together. Professor Velik finally spoke. His voice was rough. But the records show your history. The wars, the violence. You have killed each other for thousands of years. Yes, Dawn admitted. We have made many mistakes. We still make mistakes. But we are trying to be better. Trying to be better, Velik said. While living on a Class 12 world. While developing weapons that can destroy your entire planet. Professor, Nari said gently, we are aware of our faults. We know our history. But we are not monsters. We are just beings who are trying to survive and grow and understand the universe. Like everyone else. An administrator raised her hand. I have a question. A medical question. How do your bodies handle life on such a dangerous planet? Nari straightened up. This was her area of study. Humans have many adaptations. Our bones are very dense. We heal quickly from injuries. We have a powerful immune system that fights off diseases. We can survive extreme temperatures. We can eat many different types of food, even some that are poisonous to other species. What about your endurance? The administrator asked. I have read that Deathworlders often have unusual stamina. Yes, Nari said. Humans can run for hours without stopping. In ancient times, we would chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We call this persistence hunting. Several officials looked sick at this information. You would chase animals until they died of exhaustion. one of them said weakly. It was an effective hunting strategy. Nari said simply. Dohan noticed that some of the people in the room were now looking at him differently. Before, they had seemed confused or scared. Now, some of them looked almost impressed. They were starting to see humans not just as dangerous creatures, but as survivors. As beings who had overcome incredible challenges. Director Kano stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at the peaceful city for a long moment. Do you know why we were so afraid? She asked without turning around. Do you understand why the news of your existence has caused such panic? Because Deathworlders are supposed to be extinct, Dohan said. No, Kano said. She turned to face them. Because we know what Deathworlders can do. The old stories tell us. The Krath conquered half the galaxy before they destroyed themselves. The Vorn dominated their sector for 10,000 years. Every Deathworld species we have encountered has been incredibly dangerous. She walked closer to the humans. And now we learned that a new Deathworld species has risen. One that has nuclear weapons. One that has 8 billion individuals. One that has reached the stars. She stopped right in front of Dohan and Nari. Her gentle eyes looked into theirs. The question is not whether you are dangerous, she said quietly. We know you are dangerous. Every cell in your body was shaped by danger. The question is, what will you do with that danger? Will you conquer? Will you destroy? Or will you do something that no other Deathworld species has done? Dohan met her eyes. We want peace, he said. We want to learn. We want to explore the stars and meet new species and understand the universe. We do not want to conquer anyone, but you could, Kano said. Yes, Dohan admitted. We could, but we choose not to. The room was silent for a long time. Everyone was thinking about what this meant. A Deathworld species that chose peace. A civilization of apex predators that wanted friendship instead of war. Was it possible? Could humans really be different from all the Deathworld species that came before? Director Kano smiled slowly. It was a small smile, but it was real. Then perhaps, she said, you will teach us something new. Perhaps you will show the galaxy that strength does not always mean destruction. She turned to the officials. I am making a decision. These students will remain at the academy. They will continue their studies. We will not treat them as threats. We will treat them as what they are, young people who came here to learn. Some officials looked unhappy with this decision, but nobody argued. Kano looked back at Dohan and Nari. Welcome to the galactic community, she said. Officially, this time, Dohan felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He had been worried that they would be sent away, or worse, imprisoned. But this leader had chosen to trust them. Thank you, he said sincerely. Do not thank me yet, Kano said. The galaxy will be watching you. Every mistake you make will be remembered. Every success will be analyzed. You are not just students anymore. You are representatives of your entire species. Nari nodded seriously. We understand. Good, Kano said. Then let us begin again. Let us learn about humans. Not from old files and databases, but from humans themselves. She gestured to the seats around the table. Sit down. Tell us everything. Tell us about Earth. Tell us about humanity. Tell us who you really are. Dohan and Nari sat down, and they began to talk.